As you've seen, boys who are feeling emotional pain and can't express it can wind up in deep trouble, in the most extreme cases, taking their own lives. So how do you reach a boy? How do you draw his feelings out before they lead to problems? As John Stossel continues, you'll see how an expert does it. Will his approach make a difference in the Mazzilli family?
The Mazzilli children look forward to winter, when they'll be able to spend more time with their father. He's now in Florida half the year, coaching a minor league baseball team.
All the orange colors are when we're going to be seeing Daddy.
This calendar helps the kids deal with the separation.
If you want to count ahead, how many days till the next time it's orange? Elge, can you count?
3.
While Lacey Mazzilli and her twin brother LJ both miss their father, Lee says only Lacey says she misses him.
Lacey said, "Well, Daddy, why'd you take this job?" And I said, "Why, honey?" She says, "I wish you didn't take this job." And I said, "Why?" She says, "Because I want you home so I could hug and kiss you."
LJ doesn't talk about missing Daddy, but he's been getting angry after visiting Lee in Florida.
LJ won't get on the plane. I'm trying everything I can.
What does he say? I mean, is he just going?
I'm not going. I don't care what you say. I'm not going. I'm not going. And then he runs from me. I have to go get him, pick him up, bring him over, kicking and screaming onto that plane.
LJ never said why he wouldn't get on the plane, but Danny thinks it's because he misses his father, but doesn't know how to express it. Yet Danny has a conflict about how to deal with all this. She thinks boys who are too emotional will be called namby-pamby. At the same time, she wants LJ to let his emotions out.
I think that men showing emotions is not an unattractive thing. I think that we women spend all our lives trying to get men to talk to us and to try to tell us things and to be more affectionate and emotional and tell us how they feel about things. We're always forever trying to get it out of a man. And
But that's mamby-pamby.
not necessarily.
See, this
Not
dog
necessarily.
two standards here.
No, because why can't you be the strong, silent type who expresses himself too?
What a bond. How can a person be both? It's a dilemma for boys and their parents. I wonder what I could learn if I just asked the kids about missing Dad.
When he goes, does it hurt?
Yeah. When he leaves to go on the plane and we drop him off, we always say, "I miss you, I love you, I'm gonna miss you so much."
The girls immediately talk about how they feel, how they sometimes cry for Daddy. LJ says he doesn't cry.
Not me.
So you cry and you cry, but you don't. How come you don't cry?
I don't know, because I'm a boy and I'm not a girl.
There you have it. He's a boy. He doesn't cry. But Dr. Pollack says this was no way to help a boy say what he really feels.
I've got this little thing here I thought we might do together.
Pollack says the way to learn the truth from a boy is to do something with him. Some activity, anything he likes. In LJ's case, building a truck out of Legos. Over time, while doing this, LJ told Dr. Pollack what I assume is the truth, and what was the opposite of what he told me, the professional interviewer.
Do you ever cry when you feel sad?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
With other people or just by yourself?
By myself.
Do you think people know that you're crying?
No.
You don't let them know, huh?
Nope.
You're not supposed to show them?
No.
Why didn't he say that to me?
The difference was when you talked to him, there were 3 or 4 girls around, there was mom and dad around. It was what I would call a public space. Boys are very almost phobic of being ashamed. When I talked to him, I did 3 things that were different. I put him in a safe space in which there weren't other people, or at least a lot of other people, watching. I engaged in action, because it's so important to engage in action play with boys when we talk. And I let him lead the talking. And once that started, I did one other thing. I shared my own feelings with him. I told him about my own childhood, how my own father had been away for a while. And all of a sudden, his sadness and his feeling, it just opened wide up. It must be really hard not having your dad at home.
Yeah, it is.
So, what do you do about it?
I do it usually my dad does.
Like what?
I do my homework in his office when he does his work.
Oh, it's like in the same place where he would do his work?
Yeah.
So it's almost like you're right where he'd be, huh?
Yeah.
Do you ever pretend like you're being him?
Yep.
Pollack also does something we parents rarely do. He makes a brief statement and then shuts up.
I think if you got a chance to talk about how you felt about your dad, you'd feel better.
I know.
You say to him, if you talk, I think you'd feel better. And then you stop.
Right.
Why?
Because you don't keep going after a boy. With girls, the more we say, the more we interact, the more they interact. With boys, we want to touch on their feelings and then give them space to go back, not feel ashamed, think, and then come back to us. I mean, the typical example is the little girl rushes home from school, bursts in the door, is almost always in tears, and says, "Mommy, Julie wouldn't let me play with her, and she said these bad things to me to Jamie, and what am I going to do about all this?" And Mom sits down, and she says, "Oh, let's talk about it," and they have a soda together, and they talk for hours and hours and hours, and she says, "Oh, Mom, you really helped me." Johnny comes home, he has a scowl on his face. He's lost the soccer game. Mom knows something's wrong. In her gut, she knows something's going wrong. He says, "Nothing, Mom. I'm fine." He goes to his room.
What should a parent do?
Don't push him. Give him a little bit of space to save face. And then he'll come out of the room and he'll give a signal. It won't be one that's easy to know about. You have to learn about that. He might say, "When's dinner going to be ready?" Or "When's Dad going to be home?" That's his signal without knowing it for saying, "I need some help." Do you think he knows that you're sad and that you miss him?
Yes.
I had one mother who talked about what she called car therapy. Her son would do this kind of thing after a soccer game or a difficult time at school, and she'd wait for that moment, he'd come out, and he'd say, "When's dinner ready?" And she'd say, "You know, John, let's not do dinner right now. Let's go for a ride and get some ice cream." And his eyes would light up, and they'd get in the car, and they'd go for the ride. But it wasn't the ice cream. It was the action and the free space and the safe space with Mom. And on the way there, she'd say, "You know, you seem a little upset." And tears would come to his eyes, and he'd talk about his feelings. And he could talk in a way he could never talk in front of other people. So she protected his shame, she opened him up, and then she helped him to speak.
Pollack shared these thoughts with the Mazzillis. A month later, we returned to see if anything had changed.
Hey, big guy. Where's your backpack?
In the car.
How's school today?
It had.
Napkins?
Now, when Danny senses there might be something bothering LJ, she gives him time to be alone and then offers to play a game with him, like this question-answer game. Whoever makes a basket gets to ask a question.
Okay, I'll answer any question you ask me. I'll answer. You're gonna ask me a question.
This following exchange did just happen. Danny swears she and LJ didn't stage it for our camera.
What do you feel like when you're away from Daddy?
I missed him.
I miss him.
Danny calls it basketball talk and says it's working. LJ has stopped acting out in school, and he's happier at home.
How did you feel about Daddy not being at your baseball game?
Sad.
You have to wait for the moment.
Absolutely. And if you miss the moment once, that's all right. But if you don't know about the time silence syndrome and you keep missing the moment, then the boy withdraws more and more and more. And we lose touch with our boys, and they lose touch with themselves.
How bad do you want to beat Mommy?
Really bad.
That's what I thought.
Oh.